Hello and welcome. My name is Zaffar Iqbal and you are watching the Mojo Story. A big breaking news from Manipur. Chief Minister Biren Singh has resigned. He has tendered his resignation.
You're on mute, Zaffar. You've muted yourself.
He, he, you can see on those pictures, Chief Minister Biren Singh has resigned. He has tendered his resignation, met with the governor, and put in his papers. Now, this happens 2 years after ethnic violence broke out in Manipur, in which more than 200 people have been. Right. So you saw those visuals of Manipur CM Biren Singh resigning. Very, very important development. Remember, the state has been on the boil for more than 2 years. Ethnic violence between two communities, Kukis and Metis, who are now separated by a buffer zone. There was a demand of one particular community that he should resign. In fact, a couple of occasions he tried to do that, but that has not happened. But there is a context to his resignation. Now, this comes ahead of a possible trust vote to be moved by the Congress, and he has tried to preempt that, perhaps the BJP, and that's why he's put in his papers. That could be one possible reason for his resignation. But what happens next? Will a president's rule be imposed in Manipur? That's the big question. We're joined by our editor in chief, Barkha Dutt, and we're also joined by Major Ali, who knows the state like the back of his hand. Welcome to show, Barkha and Major Ali. If I may start with you, Barkha, this is a very significant development given the fact that the state has been on the edge for 2 years and there has been so much tragedy there. How do you see this development? What can you make out of this big move that has happened in Manipur?
Hi, Zafar, and good evening to you, Major Ali. For those of us who have been tracking Manipur, and as everybody knows, the Mojo story has spent so much time looking at these kind of protests, the street protests that we have seen over the years in Manipur. Remember, we are reaching a 2 year mark almost since ethnic violence erupted between the Kuki and the Meiti community in Manipur, over 200 deaths. The big question is, when there were, sharp demands for the chief minister to resign, the BJP actually backed him. So what happened suddenly? Why did the BJP suddenly decide to take this decision? That's what we've been trying to piece together in the last few hours when this news first erupted, Zafar and Major Ali. And I would like to share with you some of the information that I have been able to pick up from talking to a number of sources in both communities, but also in the state government and in the BJP. Here's what we know so far. Biren Singh, as we have just mentioned, was going to face a trust motion tomorrow. But in the past, he has managed to successfully win these trust motions. There is a reason for this. One reason is that the Kuki MLAs of the BJP, while they're totally against Biren Singh, they're not able to physically travel to Imphal. So they cannot even participate or vote in any trust motion that is brought before the House. And so the number of the absolute number of the assembly comes down, because the Kuki MLAs are automatically disqualified or not counted in that particular vote. Uh, what a very top source has told me is that recently the Speaker of the Assembly met with the BJP's top leadership in Delhi. And the Speaker to conveyed to the BJP's top leadership in Delhi that Biren Singh was now facing dissent within the party. And a number of individual MLAs conveyed to the Speaker, who then conveyed it to Amit Shah, who has been supervising the situation in security terms on the ground. The Speaker conveyed it to the top leadership that Biren Singh was no longer enjoying the confidence of his own party. And the MLAs were saying that they were finding it extremely difficult to go back to their constituencies and basically face the people there. Right? They were finding it very difficult to face the people there. And the speaker conveyed all of this and actually said that we may only have to call a trust motion. Now, as it happens, the trust motion that is slotted for tomorrow has been moved by the Congress. However, and I want to play out images for you now. These are the images that you can see there. Sorry, there's something. For some reason, we're not able to play the full images, but that is the image of the submission of the resignation of Biren Singh. In fact, let me actually, if I can turn your cameras off. Could I request both of you to turn your cameras off for a second so I can actually play these images? Yeah, and I'm also going to turn my own camera off for just a second so I can show you the images of this resignation. Here are the images. That is Biren Singh meeting the governor earlier, submitting his resignation. I'm not sure why there is a photo opportunity being created of it. Perhaps Biren Singh wanted to show that he still enjoyed the trust of people. Some of his MLAs requesting Zaffar and Major Ali to now turn their cameras back on, wanted to just show those pictures. So, as I was saying, the Speaker of the Assembly met with the top leadership in Delhi and then basically conveyed that Biren Singh no longer had the support of everybody in his party. Now, what we know from sources is that Biren Singh then arrived in Delhi to try and meet with the top leadership, but that the Home Minister evidently conveyed that if Biren Singh does not enjoy the trust of his party, entire party, if he can no longer control his own people, why should the BJP continue to back him? So while this was going to be a Congress-backed trust motion, we are hearing serious reports. Uh, we are hearing serious and very credible reports that there was great revolt within. In fact, we are also hearing the names of some consensus. We are hearing two scenarios. Either there will be a consensus candidate, a consensus Maiti candidate to replace Biren Singh. Khemchand is the name that I am hearing. He is reported to be a consensus candidate that the Kuki community may also accept Zafar and Major Ali. Or we are hearing a scenario that till all this is worked out, you could see the assembly being placed under suspended animation, and therefore this trust vote will become infructuous. Now, let us remember that this has been, as I mentioned, nearly nearly 2 years of strife, right? And there have been many calls for the resignation of Biren Singh, and the BJP has never actually ever encouraged or responded to these demands. So, what we were trying to piece together was what happened finally. What happened finally? We have seen women on the streets. We have seen children and women, as we saw in the Jiribam massacre, killed. We have seen weapons in the hands of civilians. We have seen images like this, where homes have been burned down, where the homes of legislators have been targeted. And what my sources are telling me is that basically the story turned because Biren Singh started facing revolt within. The Speaker of the Assembly conveyed to the top leadership of the BJP that the MLAs were finding it difficult to go into their constituencies and to get the support of their people, and that Biren Singh simply lost the ear of the Home Minister in Delhi because he could no longer command the support of his own MLAs. So while there is a lot of emphasis being placed on the fact that a Congress-backed trust vote was going to be placed against Biren Singh tomorrow, the story turned after revolt against Biren Singh, which is probably why when Biren Singh went to submit his resignation today, he took a bunch of his colleagues along because he wanted to show that he still had
Right.
some support. It's over to you, Zafar.
Right. And what is important is also a few days ago, the Supreme Court took notice of the audio tapes that perhaps hurt the credibility of Biren Singh. Why it happened suddenly? It could possibly be one
I
of.
think in the last few days, some things have happened, right? BJP has won Delhi. The BJP is on a much more confident footing after winning Delhi. Secondly, the BJP likes to do things on its own terms. The BJP does not like to be dictated to by the opposition, right?
Right.
I think that the Modi Shah government style is हम करेंगे तो अपनी timing पे करेंगे. It will be a moment of our choosing. And Biren Singh has not had credibility for a while. The one thing that Kuki and Maiti communities have agreed on is Biren Singh's failure to basically contain the situation, to make anything better. You talk to a Kuki, you talk to a Maiti, nobody's praising Biren Singh, right? In fact, there are some reports that there were at least 19. Let me actually pull out the numbers here. There are some reports that, if you look at the strength in the House, sorry, give me a second. The total assembly strength of Manipur is 60. A halfway mark is 30, right? But the BJP is 37. Apparently, 19 MLAs were making noises about not wanting to support Biren Singh anymore. And the feeling in our audience is if Biren Singh steps down, president's rule will be imposed immediately. A lot of people saying a non-performing CM should be replaced. It's quite simple. But others are saying, will his resignation be accepted? My own information, and again, it's very difficult to sense what's happening within the BJP. They're very close-lipped. They don't tell you much. But certainly, I have been told that at least 19 of the BJP's own MLAs were threatening to revolt against Biren Singh, that he had lost the support of his own people, that this was conveyed by the Speaker of the Assembly to the top leadership in party, that Biren Singh till the last moment tried to get an appointment with Amit Shah, but he could not secure that appointment. And Amit Shah said, how long are we going, according to my source, how long are we going to back a chief minister who can no longer control uh, his own his own flock even? So I'm going to leave it both to both of you
Right.
to analyze this now. So it's
Right.
over to you. The
Yes.
factors to keep in mind are the following: the Congress moves the trust motion. It is scheduled for tomorrow, but Biren Singh doesn't have the support, according to our sources, of his own party in full. And I don't just mean the cookie MLAs. The cookie MLAs of the BJP have already revolted in public. I mean the Meitei MLAs of the BJP were no longer backing, not in full numbers. There is one talk of a consensus candidate. Mr. Khemchand's name is doing the rounds. There is another talk that the assembly will be placed before under suspended animation, that president's rule will come, but all these things take time to move, right? Uh, the confidence motion could become infructuous. It need not come now because
Yeah.
Biren Singh is gone.
Yes.
So, to
Yes.
that extent, that has been anticipated. Maybe the BJP didn't want to see revolt from within its own ranks on the floor of the
Yes.
House, right? That is something to really reflect. That of the
So when
37
the
BJP MLAs, yeah,
chief minister resigned, it's obviously the entire cabinet that goes with him because the chief minister
that's
has
right.
resigned. And
That's
that is
right. But
perhaps the
please
reason that
remember,
he brought all the members there with him when he tendered
not
his
all. We
resignation.
don't know if it was all.
Most
Let's,
of them, some of them.
actually, we don't know. I mean, for me to play those pictures, unfortunately, because of a technical error, I needed to put your cameras off because it's a vertical video. Can you do it? I can show it to you again. We
Yeah.
can try and see how
Yeah.
many people are actually
Yes.
in that thing. So let me actually play these pictures. Oops, sorry. Here, you see, I don't think that's 37. I could be wrong, but that doesn't look to me like that's 37 MLAs. And we don't know. This is a developing story. We are going to need to get this information. You can turn your cameras back on again, Zaffar and
Yes.
Major Ali. Um,
Yes.
so basically, we don't know, Zaffar. We don't know. But please remember one thing about politics: no MLA actually wants an election before its time, right? So the BJP's Meitei MLAs are likely to push for a consensus candidate to replace him instead of indefinite president's rule. But all this takes time, it takes meetings, so you could see the Manipur assembly being placed under suspended animation. I'm going to
Right.
hop off now and
That's
leave it to both of
that's
you
thanks so
to
much. Thanks
discuss
so much,
this.
Barkha, for sharing that perspective. But that's very significant, Major Ali. The fact is that for a long time there was this demand from the ground that he should step down. He didn't do that, and everybody could see that he had the backing of his party. The central command was clearly backing him, and now all of a sudden he has resigned. How is this development going to play out on the ground? Will it de-escalate the tension? Will it sort of bring the some sort of a reconciliation process? It would trigger that more.
Right, Zaffar bhai, firstly, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's always an honor to be on the Mojo story and with you and with Barkha. Firstly, I'd like to compliment Barkha for having such in-depth insight and knowledge about what's happening in Manipur. It is not easy for people to understand, and she knows it fluently back of her hands. It's really, really commendable. and the work she had done when
Thank
she
you.
went there on
Thank you.
ground
I'm still
is
here.
really highly.
I'm still here. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Barkha. Barkha, really,
Thank you.
I truly appreciate your in-depth analysis, Barkha. So now,
Thank you.
Right.
a lot and this, your in-depth analysis over here, I'm sure is going to put to rest to a lot of people who message me saying that, oh, it could be an eyewash or it could be this, whatever it is. What you have given, what you have understood, it is bang on. It's totally, and I totally agree with you 100% about this. Now, whatever happens, even we had heard of Kemchand's name being doing the rounds. We'd heard about whether President rule will come in, what will happen. Whatever happens now, I hope whatever happens, irrespective, I hope it's only for the betterment of Manipur and not going back and not making it worse than what it happened during this regime. In fact, yes, and you are absolutely right. They were in-house a revolt happening. There was but what I got to know as well. Obviously, nobody would be happy with the person on the helm when there is so much of violence. 3rd May 2023, we have entered into 2025 right now, and it has not been put under control. There have been a lot of allegations on Ms. N. Biren Singh and Ms. How Zaffar said that, a few days back only, the Supreme Court had taken cognizance about the audio recordings and the Fosnick laboratory, and there were a lot of Truth Lab had said 93% of the voice matched to Mr. N. Biren Singh. Of course, when this could have also hurt his ego. Secondly, they could be waiting for the Delhi elections to get over. And as Barkha rightly said, that the BJP does not like getting being dictated by the opposition. They would do it as how they would wish to do it. So there could be
No,
a lot of
but
reasons.
perception is very important in politics. Will the perception go out that this was because of a no confidence trust vote that was to be brought in the assembly that forced the BJP and him to resign, or it was just the timing that BJP chose for him to step down? They would have always been
The BJP
thinking
will have
about
a
it.
PR. At the moment, the opposition will say, see, we were going to bring in a trust motion. And uske ghanto pehle, Biren Singh has resigned. And it's not like the BJP, Major Ali, to give any space for the opposition to claim any points. But I think it's quite confusing. That part of it is unexplained because if the speaker had warned the BJP leadership that Biren Singh was losing the faith of his own, of all of his MLAs, then this resignation should have been secured well before the trust vote was scheduled, right? But at least in this way, the trust vote is avoided. The trust vote is now
Yes.
avoided. Otherwise, what would have happened is we don't know. The last time Biren Singh faced a trust motion, he was able to win it, right? And we don't know what would have happened, but we do know that at least a section of his MLAs, according to sources, were in revolt.
Right.
Right.
Right. And that his popularity graph was dipping by the day. Uh, Not just his own colleagues, but people on the ground were uh, not feeling very comfortable with him at the top. Remember that he publicly apologized a few months ago to the victims of the crisis in Manipur. Uh, he said that he was sorry for what had happened there, but that really did not cut the ice, Major Ali.
Right, absolutely. People were because we had seen it earlier also around 6th September, 7th September. We had seen that, Brain Singh. Before that, we had seen Myra Paibi's, the Maite ladies, the mothers of Manipur, tearing Brain Singh's letter, resignation letter. And we saw it around 7th September. We saw the same thing that, okay, it was he would resign, but no, it would not be accepted, and such things. We had seen a kind of a lot of histrionics playing around over there, in fact.
Hmm.
I know it is. I just want to take this liberty of asking Barkha because Barkha has been on ground and she understands Manipur very, very well. Barkha, do you think? I'm sorry to put up this question to you, but do you think, with your understanding, do you think things will be better off in Manipur now? I know this you should be asking me, but I just want to understand from your point of view as well.
So I think that if this had been done earlier, my own feeling is that if Biren Singh's resignation had been, secured earlier, Major Ali, we may have had some opportunity to contain, the levels of separation that were developing within the Kuki and the Meitei community. I think the situation right now is that there's a de facto emotional and geographical divide. So you can't have people who live in the hill areas come down to Imphal. You can't have the people of Imphal go to the hill areas. There's a kind of de facto invisible line and a kind of invisible, I don't want to use the word border, so I'll use the word invisible line drawn through the heart of Manipur. Now, my my sense is if there's president's rule, it will definitely help because it's like releasing pressure, right? And then it
Hmm.
buys time.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But if they replace
Hmm.
Biren Singh with a candidate, that candidate has to be acceptable to with a Meithei candidate. That candidate has to be acceptable to the Kuki community also. There has to be somebody who is trusted more than Biren Singh was, who can build consensus between the two communities. If the Kuki MLAs of the BJP itself accept somebody like Mr. Khemchand, for example, then I think there is an opportunity that these things can get better. But if the candidate is not a consensus builder, then we're too late for Biren Singh's resignation, uh, you know, to be able to make much of a difference. I have a feeling that you will see president's rule, but I could be wrong. If they are able to
Right.
agree on a consensus, or on a consensus candidate, then why not?
I totally am on the same page as you. In fact, you spoke my mind. It's like, me having said what I would have spoken, Barkha. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
No, but if the president's rule is
Now, I want
imposed,
to read out to you. I want to read
yeah,
out to you. The Congress is already saying that this resignation is because of their trust motion. Jairam Ramesh has just tweeted saying, um, let me just open this. The Congress was all set to move a no confidence motion against the Chief Minister and his Council of Ministers. Sensing the climate, the Manipur CM has just resigned. This is a demand that the Congress has been making since May 2023. The CM's resignation was belated. The people of Manipur now await a visit by a frequent flyer Prime Minister. This is the opposition targeting
right,
Prime Minister
right,
Modi.
right,
Prime Minister Modi, remember, is off for a big international visit. He is off to France and to the United States of America, where he'll be meeting Donald Trump. And the opposition has been attacking the Prime Minister for not going to Manipur so far,
right.
right?
So Congress is quick to jump in, of course, as one would expect of an opposition party, and to take the credit of all of this that they forced Biren Singh and his party to take this decision and for him to step down. We don't know the reason. BJP would obviously also be having a plan why they did this at this particular point in time, but clearly it's a significant development for the people of that state. Remember, one community, at least one community, has been vociferously asking for his resignation since this crisis erupted. Now, that's what I was asking Major Ali. How will this development help to improve the situation there in that state, or it will make no difference? Now the polarization is complete and total.
See, Zaffar bhai, absolutely, the polarization already has taken place in Manipur and already a lot of damage has been done already. Now, if we have to reverse it and go back to damage correction and then go ahead and see the way forward, it would be a very, very big challenge for the new incumbent chief minister, whoever would come in, be it Mr. Khemchand or whoever would come in. Even the present rule, I mean, it's not going to be easy at all. It's going to be very, very difficult. But it will help to win the confidence of certain people, not only from the Kuki community tribe, but also from the Maiti community who had lost faith in Mr. N. Brain Singh. At least, balm. It might just act like a balm, initial balm, and thereafter, once you apply the balm, thereafter it's the healing would take place. So it's a very, very long way forward now. But whatever is going to happen, it will make 19 ka 20 means a small difference somewhere. And I'm sure Mr. N. Brain Singh, they would probably give him some other position. And that also I'm sure he would also be given. So the very fact
No,
is
but what position
how
they can give him? He was the chief minister. What position can he be given now? Not in the
he would
state,
be
definitely.
not in the state, definitely not in the
Yeah.
state. I don't see it happening in the state. Within the party, they could give him another position. That's their call complete. That's what's my analysis is saying because such a thing had gone into Manipur, so much of tension had gone into Manipur, and Brain Singh was not removed from his position, which meant he obviously must be very, very important in the situation that is going on in Manipur.
Okay. We seem to have Okay. Yes,
Has
Major
been
Ali, can you hear me? Yes, yes. Please speak on.
yes, yes, I can hear you clearly. Yes, Zaffar
Yeah.
bhai.
So, what
So
I'm
I
trying to
think
say,
he probably
yes.
because last year itself in 2024 in August, he had expressed his intention he is not going to step back. It was the speaker of Manipur also who mentioned that people were losing the kind of faith in the Manipur government. So it was being led by him, by Mr. N. Biren Singh. Now, whenever a leader does well, he gets the credit. Whenever something goes wrong, the leader gets the brickbats. Brickbats. So now that's the same thing over here. I think, but only thing I only wish for is I hope whatever happens, there is going to be some balm, some relief, some be it placebo effect initially, but peace should prevail into Manipur by all said and done. One should leave no stone unturned to make the people of Manipur feel that we are concerned for them, be it Maite, be it Kuki. They should feel integrated with us, and they are very much. They have contributed a great deal toward nation building, and it's unfair to actually leave them on the one side and move on with what we are doing in our daily life. No, they are very much a part of us, and they will always remain a part of us. In fact, the year violence broke out in 2023, 3rd May. Before that, there was an international polo tournament. There was Femina Miss India. Manipur was going through a very, very good time, and things were going very, very well. It came out at a very wrong time, and there was a demand for Mr. N. Brain Singh to be removed by the cooking community for a very, very long time. Finally, they are. But now, when it is being done, I hope it really acts as a balm to them, in fact.
Right. And one can only hope that the situation improves, but it is very significant because Biren Singh was the chief minister even before the violence erupted, even before 2 years ago. And then when he was at the top, situation sort of escalated and it has never stabilized ever since. There have been spells of violence, periods of lull, and it has just repeated on. So now he's stepping down. Will I don't know how it's going to impact the situation on the ground, but it is very significant and will be looked by both the communities in their own perspective that how is it going to help the situation. At least from the cookie point of view, this is one of the demands that they have been putting out has been met by whatever reason, whatever the reason for his resignation. But now that he is not there at the top, so how will the dialogue process be impacted by this development?
That's a very, very good and a very, very pertinent question, Zafar bhai. See, the cookies' demands were, they were saying the only solution is separate administration, SA. They were asking for separate administration, which means within the constitution of the country, within a state, separate state within the country, as per the limitation of the constitution of India, not of a separate country. Secondly, they were asking for Mr. N. Brain Singh's resignation. So I don't know about the separate administration part. That's up to the government to actually take a call. And because whatever I believe in one thing very, very clearly and very, very firmly, whatever call needs to be taken should be taken, keeping the Constitution of India in mind. That has to be first and foremost and respected by everyone. Now, when they were asking for the resignation of Mr. N. Brain Singh, well, and it has finally happened now. I hope it applies a balm on their pain. It is a wound that too deep, too deep. I mean, balms don't work when the wounds are so deep. But I hope at least some difference is made somewhere, and they welcome. As so far, what we are gathering is by Mr. Kimchand, he is acceptable to the Kogi community as well, the Kogi tribe as well, as of now. So I hope whatever comes, it is acceptable by both. But when you talk about the dialogue process, Zaffar bhai, unfortunately, I haven't seen the dialogue process. I haven't seen. Well, I've seen a dialogue process in Russia, Ukraine, in a way. I've seen a dialogue process between Israel, Hamas, because there was recently ceasefire agreement. I haven't. At least they could have been. I don't know, but I haven't seen active interlocutors over there getting both the communities to the table and talk it out. I saw an initiative by the Home Ministry about a month or two back where they called the leaders of the Kuki tribe and they sat down. I don't know what the outcomes of that were. I the inform the not the information broadcasting but the intelligence bureau they would be having names of people who are neither cookies nor maites, but who take interest in Manipur, who know Manipur, who understand Manipur. I don't see why they have not been brought or consulted with, because that I've always believed should be the nation's first priority. I have volunteered my services several times. In fact, I have been crying out hoarse that I want to come forward. I want to contribute in whatever little way I can. There is a gentleman called by the name of Mr. Amrik Singh Pava. He's a Sikh gentleman in Manipur. He has been coming out. He's been contributing his services. There have been former Director General Assam Rifles, Lieutenant General Pradeep Nair, who has recently retired. He knows the situation on ground. There have been former GOCs, there have been former chief secretaries, there have been former DGPs of police. Their services should be combined together. There has to be a team of interlocutors, not just a peace community which was formed. A peace committee was formed of 51 members when in 2023, and which was not acceptable by them because many of them said my name was there without my consent. We do not know what's going on. So a peace community which actually is meant, which is a team of not one interlocutor, but a team of interlocutors in need of the hour, and dialogue is the only way forward, which I'm afraid and I'm scared that it has not been happening over here, Zaffar bhai.
No, dialogue must be happening, but in bits and bytes. Do you think that a structured dialogue is missing? And would there be a serious effort now for a structured dialogue to bring about reconciliation between the two communities?
I hope that happens, Zaffar bhai. I really hope that happens because so far, structured dialogue could have been happening. I don't know. Informal dialogues, yes, have been happening. A structured dialogue, official dialogue, formal dialogue is the need of the hour because dialogue is the only way forward. Not gun. A gun will only get pieces, will not get peace. I, having served in the army, having seen action in Jammu Kashmir and in the Northeast, I can tell you a gun will only bring pieces. Gun is not the answer. The way forward is to win the heart and minds. Unless and until the people over there feel that we are part of them, they are part of us. When they would see me in uniform, I'll tell you, in Northeast part of India, especially when I was with the Assam Rifles, when the locals, the villagers would see me in my uniform, they have categorically told me on several occasions that today we do not feel intimidated by the Indian Army at all. We don't feel intimidated by the Assam Rifles at all. We feel the Indian Army or the Assam Rifles here to protect us, not to harm us. So that was the confidence we had, one of theirs.
Right.
So that happened because of the dialogue. I could speak the language, their dialect, and they felt integrated. Now, where the dialogue? I haven't seen the communities come together on a table and peacefully. All I've seen them on Mojo Story, you have brought Cookie, you brought Maite to speak, and I've been very impressed that they've been thankfully civil on your channel at least. Other channels, I've seen them fight. And so we have to get them together. We have to get the political leadership of both the communities together on a table, interlocutor in the middle, and speak peacefully and talk and sensibly and with maturity. Someone who is acceptable by both the Maites and the Cookies. That has to be done, Zaffar bhai.
And it's the test for leadership also to rise up to the occasion now. Because one of the problems that this state has faced is that the leadership has not really led from the front to bring about reconciliation, to bring about a dialogue process. Somewhere the leadership has faltered, no? But it is the time for leadership, cutting across political lines, cutting across ethnic lines, to come forward and to take this situation, take this movement, and to help in the dialogue process, in the reconciliation process. Test for leadership also.
Absolutely, that's very, very important. It all comes from the top. Whatever the helm of affairs, however they are. I'll give you a small example, like your editor-in-chief, Barkha Dutt. She went on ground, she understood Manipur, and I commend Mojo Story for the kind of team that she's leading. You've got, everyone's got. It always comes from the top. It's an example that I've given. Similarly, when we have someone on the helm of affairs in Manipur who is acceptable by both the communities, by both, even Nagas, in fact, it should be acceptable to them as well. Acceptable to even the Gurkhas or the South Indians who are settled there in More or other places. It should be acceptable to everyone because at the end of the day, sabko saath leke chalna hai. You have to carry everyone together. You cannot see I'm affiliated to this party or that party. I'm answerable to the state overall. Like, for example, I'll give the case of Thomas Becket. Thomas Becket, in fact, when he was appointed, as the looking after the church, he saw the community as a whole. So I think it's very, very important. The need of the hour is a dialogue. A formal official dialogue has to be called in straight away. In fact, I would request our government, I would request the Home Ministry to please call for a dialogue where we talk peace, we talk about ideas, we talk about ways and means to take things forward. By removing one person, it is not just about one person. See, for example, in the army, if I would have been out of the army, does it mean that my company or my battalion did not function? It functioned very, very well without me. So no one is indispensable at the end of the day. But what
Right.
we have to do is the leadership, the idea should be that, okay, if we are removing one person, we have to ensure that things only get better and it serves as a balm only. That's it, Zaffar bhai.
Right. And, it's very important. We have discussed Manipur so many times. One of the things that we always discuss was the role of the chief minister, that there is a persistent demand that he should step down. Some would say, no, he's trying his best to control the situation. But now that this has happened, he has tendered his resignation. It should definitely impact the situation on the ground. At least it should give an opportunity for people to think what is the way ahead. After all, people from both the communities are living in the same country. They should also l- live under the same roof in the same state. And what can be done about it? That is the challenge for the leadership and for the people there as well. But from the security situation, I wanted to ask you in the end. We talk about the situation in Manipur whenever there is violence. Today, we are not talking that there has been an incident of violence. How do you see the security situation in Manipur right now? Have any lessons been learned?
See, Zafar bhai, the reason why the regarding security situation, why we didn't see a spate of violence for some time is because, as Barkha rightly said, they are invisible divisions over there. They are buffer zones
Right.
created, which means, and like as we saw the cookie MLAs could not come to Imphal to vote because they either didn't feel safe or they didn't want to go there. So in a way, it was not counted at all. Now, a cookie cannot go to a Maite region. Unfortunately, a Maite cannot come to a cookie region, unfortunately. So they are these divisions, invisible divisions, which have been created. Now, when that happens, of course, if you segregate people, it is very, very difficult. You find couples, in fact, I'll say this example for everyone to understand this. You find couples, they sometimes fight and the children get affected. Whereas those couples, when they separate, we find there is at least they're not fighting. There is some similarly now that's what happened because in Manipur there was separation, invisible separation. So there were no cases of violence reported for a long time. But does that mean that things were normal? Things were never normal. I spoke on television channels. They said that suddenly we saw a peace in Manipur. Suddenly the violence has broken out. I said, no, 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 no. It's not that suddenly the violence is broken out.
Right.
Things were never okay. It's just that
Right.
it's a perception. We were trying to believe that things are okay, but things had not become okay. Imagine the plight of a cookie who owns land in the valley, or a Maite who was living in a place like Kangpokpi or Chachanpur or More or Tengnopal in those areas. So these people cannot go back to their where their property means not only land, property means where their belongings were. There was a case where in More, where fire broke out. So the ambulance had to come from across the border, from Tamu, from Burma. So these are questions which we have to ask ourselves: that are we being fair to the people of Manipur, irrespective whether Maite, Kuki, or Naga? Are we being fair to our brethren from the northeast part of India? Are we being fair to them compared to what they give to us? Compared to the contribution made by them, are we being fair? No, unfortunately, no. I don't think we are being fair to them. So we
I,
have to.
I I tend to agree that we only remember Manipur whenever there is violence or there is something. We don't think about it so much as we should, as it being an important state and a part of this country.
You are 100% right. Like the way the feeling of patriotism suddenly wakes up on 20th January or 15th August, or 15th January is also Army Day. But people, some many civilians are not aware of that. So, sir, why should we be patriotic and put national flags only on 15th August or 20th January? It should be
Yeah.
celebrated throughout the year. Similarly, and I'm glad that change has started happening. Similarly, regarding northeast part of India, we have Mirabai Chanu, we have Mary Kom, we have we have so many people. I'll give you a small example. I just returned yesterday after Priyanka Chopra's brother's wedding from Bombay. Now, I was told that Mary Kom was visiting us. I went to a school, in fact, in Calcutta, and I was told that Mary Kom had visited that school. So the students out there were expecting Mary Kom as in Priyanka Chopra to come there. So they were expecting that. So Mary Kom, who is a national icon, I mean, Ratan Theam, theatre personality from the National School of Drama. We have had such people. We have army officers from both the Kuki tribe and the Maitri community and the Nagas who are extremely brave, very, very brave and fearless warriors, in fact. They are so good in their, on the New Year, Zaffar bhai, my wife and son, they went to Vietnam. So they sent pictures from there that, their booby traps, their ambushes, their guerrilla
Yeah.
warfare. I said, this is nothing compared to what my soldiers from the Assam Rifles were. They were way, way ahead. In fact, we had surrendered insurgents, surrendered militants with us in a battalion, and they knew the terrain so well. And I used to interact with them. We used to eat in the same plate. And they would tell me stories about how they were trained across and how they came and how they would operate before they joined the forces. So most certainly regarding the security point of view, it is of prime importance. And I think Manipur has to be on high alert for the next at least a week at least minimum. So if you sleep for 6 hours a day, cut short half an hour of sleep, it's okay. No, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So one
Yeah.
has to, my advice to my security forces brethren, I'm sure they are doing a commendable job. They already are alert, but we have to keep our eyes, ears, everything open for information. We don't know what could happen anywhere, when, and of course, that's a basics which we get. Never set a pattern that सभी को 5 बजे जाना है तो 5 बजे ही जाना है, इसी रास्ते से जाना है तो इसी रास्ते से ही जाना है. We have to be alert. We have to make sure that no spirit of violence takes place, no protest, no congregations. We have to ensure all that, Zaffar bhai, regarding security
That's a
point of
very
view.
that's a very important piece of advice. Before we wrap up, just to recap to our viewers, Biren Singh has resigned as the Chief Minister of Manipur. Now, this comes ahead of the trust vote. He quit as the Manipur Chief Minister. He was to face a trust motion amid reports of rumblings within BJP. Now, this has happened nearly 2 years after violence erupted in Manipur. Now, the question is, will President's rule be next? Biren Singh's resignation has been reported to have been pushed from within BJP. That's what sources have told Mojo Story. Sources have also told Mojo Story that Biren Singh faced revolt from within. Khem Chand is reported to be the consensus candidate to replace Biren Singh. Sources have told Mojo Story. Now, the question is, will Manipur Assembly be placed under suspended animation? Congress was to move the trust motion against Biren Singh, and this has come just ahead of that. We'll keep a close track of this story, but for now, thanks so much, Major Ali, for joining us and for sharing your thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.